What's going on, my fellow warriors? I hope you guys are having an awesome day. I just want to get right into it. I had a dream about what was, I believe, Luna Classic, and this might resonate mostly with people that are kind of familiar with the Now Daily Bread channel by Sharon, or have been for a while. But even if not, it'll make sense. Just that the end piece, or the little piece of revelation I got, might not make sense, but I'll explain it. Okay, so this was actually the night before Yom Kippur, and this was September of 2023. And so I dreamt that I was in a store and I was looking through the rack and I noticed a Philadelphia 76ers jersey with a player's name that was unfamiliar, and the number was the number 20, like the number of the player on the team. I asked one of the people that I was with from the group about it, and he said the jersey was worth $40,000 because the player is dead, but it'll only be worth that amount for about another month. But they don't even realize that it's in the rack. Now, later in the dream, um, we kind of like it seemed like we secretly like there was several people that I was with, and it's like everybody heard what he said and like took note of it, and we all like came back later to try get this jersey behind each other's back. So later in the dream, we came back. I came back to get the jersey. We all did, but I got there first. So I was standing in line to pay for it, but I saw the price tag and it was $110. And I'm like, this is too expensive. Like, I'm not paying $110 for this jersey. You know what I mean? Like in the dream. I know that doesn't make sense because he said it was worth 40 grand. So I didn't want to buy it. So for some reason, so in the next scene, it's like we were all driving in these big black vans going somewhere. And then we all pulled into like our parking spots. They all backed in and I pulled in forward. And then there was a man that showed up and he seemed super upset, like questioning us. And it seemed like he didn't want me to have the jersey. Um, and I just thought to myself, I don't even have the jersey, because I didn't see myself buy it in the dream. I just remember I was in line to buy it and I looked at the price and I'm like, well, I'm paying it $110. And then it just went to the next scene. But this dude like was like going around like super mad, like some type of Asian or something, like trying to who has the jersey, da da da. And so I'm thinking to myself, like, why he asked me about the jersey? I didn't even buy it. But then I looked on the passenger seat of the van and it was there. And I didn't even know how it got there, but I did have the jersey. And then that was the end of the dream. This is a dream that obviously I had in 2023. I've come back to it several times, and each time God seems to give me a little bit more revelation on it. Um, but I mean, ChatGPT, we got cheat mode now. So I actually had the idea when I was reading through some of my old dreams the other day to ask ChatGPT about players that had the number 20 on the 76ers, like the last five of them, and there was nothing significant. And then I kept like rephrasing the question, and then I went to a different AI. But eventually I came across um, Moses Malone. He wore the number 20 during his time with the 76ers from 1982 to 1986, and then briefly in 1993 to 94, and he passed away in 2015. I think that was what I added because in the dream, the guy said that the player is dead. Um, and Moses Malone died. So that's what made me kind of rephrase my question. Now, Luna Classic, if you follow that whole saga, they basically said that chain is dead, right? It was worth a whole lot of money, but it crashed. It seems like it was tied to Sam Bankman-Fried, the manipulation he was doing. The chain crashed and it went down to a fraction of a penny, right? And everybody said it's dead, but they've been working on it behind the scenes. And if you know, there's a lot of prophetic dreams out there that at some point it's going to rise again. Probably not back to the original price it was, but if you bought it somewhere similar to where it is now, to where it could potentially go, a lot of people believe it'll be a significant gain. So that resonated with me because it was something that died and that was like worth a lot of money, right? And then I also thought it was interesting that he was saying it was worth 40 grand, but I could pay 110 for it. It's like you can buy it now for it seems expensive now, but it's going to be worth way, way more. But in the moment right now, you feel like I want to get it cheaper, but you're going to wish you bought it when it's worth 40K. You see what I'm saying? There's a lot of things that resonated with me when I was just praying into this. And so that's what made me think it was Luna Classic. The fact that it died, the player died, and it was going to be worth significantly more. Like I could pay for a lot less for than what it was actually worth. Um, And then another piece that was interesting to me is the Now Daily Bread channel, Sharon. Um, a lot of times God speaks to me by just making things pop up on my YouTube feed, like people I've never watched. Sometimes it'd be creators with like very little followers, and I begin to learn after a while. That's something that just God just does with me, and that's how I came across her channel. At that time, she had like probably less than 1,000 followers, and she had no interest in crypto, none. But she started like giving certain messages, and I started to like, being someone that was in the space since 2017, I'm like, she's talking about crypto. Like, she was saying all these terms that are like, I don't remember what they were, maybe like FOMO and different things, and she was using all these crypto terms, but she didn't know what she was saying. And I love when prophets that do stuff like that, because they're prophesying. You know what I mean? It's super cool to see. And I also love when God uses someone in something that they have no interest in, because you could just tell there's no motive. It's the wisdom of God, I mean, obviously now she probably, because of all the revelation she's got, I'm sure she's invested, but she's just someone that loves the Lord truly, and those are just the best people to, I admire people like that put God first, because they tend to get good revelation and they're not blinded by worldly desires and things like that. So I had been watching Sharon for a while, and there's so much different testimonies I have regarding that channel. But in regards to the dream, um, she she basically realized eventually God was talking to her about Luna Classic. She had a lot of dreams, and one of the key things she would always mention, and that there was going to be something that took place. It was almost like it happened overnight, and she kept referring to it as a Red Sea moment. And that was actually something that began to kind of become a more widespread prophetic word over time. I started to hear more and more people say it, but I heard her say it very early on. It was almost like, how did this happen? Like, how did God do that? Like, one day everything was regular, and the next day, like, it's like God, it was such a miracle. It was like when God parted the Red Sea, and that had always stuck with me. So I thought that dream was about Luna Classic, and yesterday when I looked up the name of the player that had the number, his name was Moses. Okay, Moses Malone. So I'm like, you know what I mean? When I caught that, I'm like, man, God is so cool how He does that. And I was actually inspired by, I think, Prezo too, because when she has dreams, the level of depth she goes, and I just didn't realize there's that much revelation in a dream, So it inspired me to start digging deeper into mine. And man, God is like a very detail oriented God. He'll you can go as deep as you want to with Him, and you'll always get more revelation. It's just how far do you want to take it. But it's really cool to journey with Him, and that's something He's been doing with me. Just this morning, He had a video like He did with Sharon pop up in my timeline. That was about waiting on the Lord. Stop consuming content and just chill. Stop taking in all this information and just sit with God and spend time with Him. And that's actually something He's been talking to me about for a while. And and it's been one of the biggest blessings ever. Like, who would have thought it's that simple? We really overcomplicate it. We get stuck in trying to do works and make sure that we meet up God's standards, and we're good enough, and we prayed enough, and in tongues, and tithed enough, and all these rules and legalistic stuff. And He's like, bro, I just want to spend time with you. Like, I love you. Come hang out with me. It's almost like too simple. But as I've pressed into that, I'm like, man, this is really amazing. And he talks, and you get the confirmations about it. And I think a lot of that is my obedience to starting this YouTube channel, because I don't really like attention. I love to just chill and do me. And God's been talking to me about it for a long time. And everyone that knows me, because I keep a very small circle, but the people that know me are like, bro, you know so much stuff. Like, you're always just talking about all this stuff. You need to go on YouTube or something. Oftentimes I'm watching YouTubers, and I'm correct. I just joined a crypto course. I never wanted to do this. Like, I just thought they were scams forever. But this particular kid, I'm not gonna say who he is, but he was a believer. He was always talking about God, and I went on one of his it's like a Zoom where they talk about the course and what's available. And he opened it with a prayer, and I'm like, I mean, I feel good about this dude. And so I do the course, and it was expensive, and bro, like they before I even like really dug into it, I said, just out of curiosity, because he had like a whole course, and then at the end you can take a test to see like how much information you retained. And I've been in the space for a while, so I was curious. So I went straight to the test, and I got every question but one question wrong, that had to do with mining. And I used to mine, like, I was really into it. I had like a big setup. And so even the one question I got wrong, I went on Chat GPT, and Chat GPT said the quiz was wrong and I was right. You know what I'm saying? And so man, I got off track. I think the point I'm just trying to make is that you need to be careful of all the information you take in. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's better to just press into God and just get your information straight from him. And so I'm gonna wrap this video up, but I hope it blessed you guys. And I'm just gonna have to see what God does, because there's so many, man, I've got testimonies, I've got things I've learned along the way. I know a lot about crypto and finance. I really, nutrition is my thing, like holistic supplements and things of that nature. And I'm really just trying to stick to one thing, and but also be obedient to God. So we'll see what he does. But either way, I hope you guys subscribe, like the video. It's a free tithe. And remember, we are of the kingdom. We are children of the Most High God. So whatever you do, make sure you be royal.